Welcome to the No More Late Fees podcast. I'm Danielle.
And I'm Jackie, and we're just two best friends and ex-Blockbuster employees rewatching some of the best and worst movies from the late 90s and early 2000s. This week, we're talking about the Hilary Duff inspirational movie, Raise Your Voice. And we're joined by our Instagram pal and fashion historian, Jessie, from Vintage Juicy Couture and This Old Thing. Welcome, Jessie.
Hi, thank you guys so much for having me.
We're so happy to have you with us.
And boy, oh boy, are we in for a ride today.
It's a wild ride.
Such a wild ride.
Hold on to your hats.
Hold on to your juicy.
Couture.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I wore some for you guys. My sweater, it's too hot in here, but just so you know, it's right here.
You have your juicy.
Yes. And I have my Hilary inspired string.
Oh, yes.
Yes, love it.
Thank you. I normally use a different hair straightener, but I reached out and I miraculously grabbed my hair straightener from like 2008, like my Revlon original one. And that's what I used. I was like, this just feels right.
Got to get in character.
Yeah. I feel it.
But before we dive in, let's get into some housekeeping. One day. If you love the podcast and want to support us, here's a few ways you can.
You can become one of our Patreon besties and gain access to exclusive content. We've got stickers, Ask Me Anythings, polls, bonus videos, lives, and Spotify playlists. Just head to patreon.com/no more late fees.
And if money is tight, no worries. You can really help us by writing us a review. Did you know writing a review and or rating us helps us to get more listeners? Like this review from Callie5678 via Apple Podcast. Loves it. 5 stars. Absolutely wonderful. A hilarious and heartwarming revisit on all our beloved classics. Highly recommend.
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Callie. We love it. So if you want to be featured and help us grow, head on over to Apple, Spotify, Podchasers, Good Pods, or your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review.
And if you want to wear something under that Juicy Couture sweatsuit that you are pulling out because we inspired you after this episode, we've got merch, people. That's right. You can get your No More Late Fees t-shirt at nomorelatefees.redbubble.com. Or you can go to redbubble.com and just search No More Late Fees, and you can check out all of our merch. You could put it on pretty much anything.
Loves it. Okay, so Raise Your Voice. After her brother dies in a car accident, spoiler alert, Terri wants to honor her brother's wishes and attend a performing arts school in Los Angeles. The one small hitch is that her father is an overprotective bear and forbids her from going. That's where Terri's cool aunt and mom come in to help her lie her way to her music school dreams. Can Terri fool her dad while keeping up at this very competitive music school in LA? Raise Your Voice.
It's just like, that's one of the questions we're going to have during this.
There's a lot of questions, not a lot of answers in this movie. It stars Hilary Duff, Rita Wilson, David Keith, Jason Ritter, Oliver James, Rebecca D. Mornay, and John Corbett. It was written by Sam Schreiber, directed by Sean McNamara, and you can rent it on Amazon. But before we start, let's get into our ratings rewind.
So you know the drill. Before we get into the movie, we'll reveal the rating our Y2K versions of ourselves would give. Then at the end, we'll see if our current selves agree with our initial rating. Our scale consists of would buy it again,
the best, would play on repeat,
5-day rental,
would watch again,
2-day rental,
okay, but nothing to write home about,
and same-day rental.
Trash, straight up trash. Maybe Aunt Mina can weld it into something.
We gotta love trash that can be turned into art.
Exactly.
So. All right, we'll start with you, Jessie. What was your Y2K rating? How did your younger self feel about this movie?
I would say probably 2-day rental.
Yeah.
Like, get it for the weekend. It's a new release. My little sister's 5 years younger, and I think Hilary Duff is somewhere in between us.
Gotcha.
So, like, I was very mature. So I thought Lizzie McGuire was a little too young for me to be watching. But I would watch stuff like that with my sister, like, you know, as a family kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So I definitely remember watching this at the theater. I think it was maybe like the Dollar Theater, because we went there a lot, like this Mugs and Movies. And I liked it, but I thought I was a little too grown up for it. So I would say 2 day.
Jackie?
I've never seen this movie before.
Oh,
Okay. So you're definitely gonna have views. Okay.
what do you think you would?
I think she probably felt that she didn't want to see it.
She and her Jean goes.
Yeah.
Too good for Raise Your Voice.
For me, it was definitely a same day rental, because I promise you, and it's not a memory thing this time, I don't remember not much from this movie. And then when I watched the movie, the things I did remember, it was more of a feeling of like, oh, now I remember why I never watched this again. So
fair.
All right. We want to know your Y2K ratings too. So hit us up at No More Late Fees on social and let us know where it ranks for you. Let's get into these box office numbers. So the movie had a budget of $15 million and it made about $14.8 million worldwide. On Rotten Tomatoes, yeah, it barely made its money back.
Come on, point 2.
On Rotten Tomatoes, Raise Your Voice has an approval rating of 15% based on 84 reviews. I feel like it's probably changed a little bit. It probably has more reviews, but I'm sure the average is still pretty low. The consensus calls the film a bland, formulaic tween version of Fame. That's accurate. I was getting I Want to Be Fame vibes very much so while watching this.
So according to the little research that I did, it was initially supposed to be like a Christian movie. And that's what I felt watching it.
Yes,
thank you. I did not get that when I was back in Y2K.
Like, and I felt like very easily all the songs she's saying could be more
Christian.
Yeah. Or like could have God inserted into them very easily.
And I was actually interested in if any of them ever did go on to Christian radio.
Yeah. I'm not sure. But she had like the Brother's Cross and she would go to church and stuff. So I think those elements were probably the only thing that remained after they tweaked it for a mainstream audience.
Oh, that's so interesting.
The thing that really blew my mind was that Evan Rachel Wood and Jonathan Jackson were originally supposed to be the choices. And I kind of feel like that would have elevated this movie a million times over. I don't know if it would have gotten that much better, but I think it would have been a few degrees higher.
Would Jonathan Jackson have been Jason Ritter's role, or would he have been Terry
and Jay?
A British friend.
Okay. Well, then I'm fine with that. Although the brother and Jonathan Jackson would have been very similar, I feel. Like Jason Ritter kind of gives, to me, the same vibes of Jonathan Jackson around.
I guess. I just don't see it. There too.
Yeah, I definitely felt like there were parts where this could have been a much more serious movie.
Mm-hmm.
And those were the parts I didn't remember so much. Like the dad is giving like 5,000% the whole time.
Yeah.
He's about to like tear down the wall.
Yeah, he was hulking out a lot. He
was emotionally and probably physically abusive to that family.
Yes, that was dark.
Yeah.
The way he yoked up the brother Paul, the way he yoked him up, I thought it was gonna straight take his face and put it in the grill. I'm just saying. But we'll get there.
I was like, I was scared from the first second that he enters the screen. I was like, I really didn't remember that. Like Hilary, sorry.
No, go ahead.
The way that she would say things, like if it were Evan Rachel Wood or someone else, I think that it could have been a different movie, because like there's one part where she says to the dad, she's like, and we're all afraid of you. And it's like, if someone else said that, it might have actually had meaning, like, wow, yeah, this dad has been abusing like his whole family.
Yeah.
But the way that she says it, it's just like, why?
I feel like at this point, Hilary Duff wasn't 100% in her acting bag yet. I think she's gotten progressively better. You know, she was just, I think the appeal of her as an actress was that she was so relatable. I think that's why people love Lizzie McGuire, because it felt like she was an everyday middle school kid, you know?
And I feel like her being on Lizzie McGuire for so long, like it was very formulaic. So she got very comfortable acting in one particular style.
Right.
And to go and have to translate that to a new character was probably a difficult transition. And so this was kind of one of those transitional movies where it's like she didn't quite nail it. Like she had moments, like it wasn't terrible acting, but it could have been so much more.
Yeah. I think Mandy Moore did a million times better doing that transition. I think when I first saw A Walk to Remember, I was like, this corny, y'all. But eventually I could see, like, she wasn't horrible. That movie also can read as a Christian movie as well, I think. But I think Mandy Moore did a better job at that transitioning from I mean, Hilary wasn't just a pop star, she was an actress first, but this movie gave me, I'm a pop star trying to be an actress vibes.
But not doing any of it well.
I want to talk about the beginning scene.
Okay, go ahead.
Tell me. So the beginning scene is pretty much this choir practice happening at school or Glee club, whatever you want to call it.
Well, prior to that, we get the quote from Beethoven that makes no goddamn sense. It says, music is a higher revelation than all wisdom and philosophy. Wow. What now?
That's beautiful.
Makes no sense in the context of the movie. Probably still left in from when it was supposed to be a Christian.
No, they did not land Psalms, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Oh, maybe they were like, we need a different quote to start the movie. This one says music in it. Yeah.
I think they should have just gone with it and made it a Christian movie. I would have understood the movie 110 times better. Yeah. And it would have made all the pieces come together. When I read that fact, I was like, oh, why didn't y'all do that?
Yeah. Would they have had that budget? And like use like Hollywood stars with it?
I think there's been a few Christian movies where they've had pretty big budgets and they would have done well. I think it would have done well. It probably would have done better if it was marketed as a Christian movie.
Yeah.
But
sorry, Danielle.
No, thanks for, we needed that tip because I totally forgot about that. So I'm watching this scene and they are in choir practice and you see Hilary just having the time of her goddamn life. Yes, she is feeling, and again, this would have made more sense if this was a Christian movie because she was feeling the Lord.
And Jeremiah was a wolf.
Totally inappropriate for a high school choir.
Yeah, where's the separation of church and state at this school? Or any of these schools.
But for me, it was giving me very much Mr. Schuster and Glee.
Yes.
Oh my God, yes.
It was very much giving me Glee. I said,
that's so accurate.
So if y'all are Glee fans and you've never seen this movie, I would go watch that beginning scene.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, my first note was opens and I'm cringing.
Immediately. And she was the only blonde. So there was another blonde girl in the far back, but she was kind of like a dirty blonde. Yes, but Hilary was the only one that was like bright.
Yes,
blonde hair, like a light was shining.
I'm sure she had her own light.
Yeah.
I feel like I did not like this blonde on her, and it was very noticeable to me that it was a very different blonde than what in some of the other things that she was like a Cinderella story. It washed her out quite a bit. I felt like
It was
she
kind of
looks
wiggy.
she looks sick.
Yeah.
She looks
Yeah.
sick. I was like, are we having a walk to remember? I don't remember a bitch dying in this one.
Are we
Well,
having-
not her.
Yeah, like in both of your photos, like look at her.
Yeah, it's
Very pale.
It's giving me very touched by an angel, you know?
Yeah. Maybe there's extensions. It's very Lego hair. Like it's just on there.
Yeah.
And I feel like that actually doesn't help her act either, because it's just like, wear this hair. It's never up. It's never once
never.
up.
Oh, you're
Like,
She
get rid of
has-
this hair so she can just do something.
She has one scene where it's clipped back in like one of the mini claw clips, but that's even just like the very 2000s crown is clipped back.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say, I don't know what our journey is going to be having this podcast, and I don't want to talk shit so bad about somebody, but
No.
whoever was doing the hair on this entire
Movie.
trash.
Yeah.
Trash. I don't have a hair
That
license.
specific hairstylist is gonna come back.
I'm sorry. I apologize in advance, but it's not your best work, and I
No,
hope
it's not.
that you learn from it, because look, okay, Jason Ritter's hair looks like shaggy. Okay, just I don't even know what to say. It's like
It's pre Justin Bieber. Like it's not long enough to be the Justin Bieber.
This one?
Yeah, Jason Ritter. It's just homeboy needs a haircut. Like it's curling around the back. Like you just need to cut his eyeballs out of it at least. Like do something.
Yeah.
I used to always think Jason Ritter was cute, but in this movie I was not attracted to him.
The
at all.
hair does nothing for him.
No.
Nothing.
Yes, in terms of 2000s hair, like, okay, was this person doing their best? No. But create an iconic timepiece of unfortunate hair. Yes. But it's very authentic in that way. You know what I mean? Like we actually had hairs like this.
This is a time capsule 100% when it comes to the hair. And when we do meet Jay,
Sonic.
All this, it's like a possum pissed on his head, bleached his hair, and left the piss stain behind. I think that's pretty
such
accurate.
a way with words.
I know. The Danielle Dictionary.
I mean, none of us can argue, right?
Yeah. Is it like, did he bleach it himself and that's why it looks like that?
Yeah, he bleached it at the school, you know.
Maybe that's what the whole point of this movie is, that they were trying to give realistic portrayals of these, the kids doing it themselves. Maybe Terri was trying to be bleach blonde. She did that from the box.
She cutting her own bangs at home.
Right. And maybe for her brother, he was trying to rebel against his dad. So the growing out the hair was a thing, I'm trying hard to give backstories here.
That's why the dad was so angry. That's some pretext.
It was that damn hair.
I mean, if he grew up in the 60s, I could imagine like it was such a rebellious thing back then for them to grow out their hair. Yeah.
So we do get a little bit of exposition where the teacher said he sent in his recommendation. And then now we're in the hallway and Matthew is giving her the concert tickets he secured and she pays him for it. So, and she's very kind to him, even though he's kind of goofy and silly and very obviously has like a crush on her. And her friend kind of makes fun of her for it. And she's like, what? He's a nice kid. So we're already set up that Terri is just kind to everyone and everyone likes her and she wants to be inclusive. So that's nice. Then we meet Paul, Jason Ritter, as Terri's older brother. He is a senior. They're throwing him a senior party, which consists of Terri, their mom and dad, and Aunt Nina. And he's like, screw that. I'll show up when I show up. Hold down the fort for me.
And then we realize that their dad is like hella abusive. I would imagine you wouldn't want to bring your friends there.
Yeah. So now Paul shows up at his graduation backyard barbecue.
Where was he?
He went to go. He might have been, but he said he was hanging out with friends or he was saying goodbye to some of his friends.
Yeah.
But I think we figure out, like, later on, he tells Terri that he is not coming, he's not staying for the summer. So it does make sense that
he's saying goodbye.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Inconsiderate of their father.
Yes.
And acting like he doesn't know that this man has a short fuse.
Right.
So Terri is talking to her Aunt Nina about the Bristol Hillman Music Conservatory.
It's that music school, y'all. That's what we're gonna be calling it. We will not say this name again because it's ridiculous.
Well, so I
read that devil music.
It turned into Footloose.
It is. He is okay. That is his backstory. He is from the town of Footloose.
Yes. And Aunt Nina got out, but Dad is still stuck in those ways.
Yeah.
So we find out that Dad is adamantly against pretty much anyone leaving ever.
When they were driving in that Jeep scene, you do see a sign after they're leaving school that it says Flagstaff.
Oh,
it's like one of the first times in a movie I actually get where the hell they are.
Yeah.
Essentially, Dad doesn't want her going anywhere to the big scary city where things could happen to her. He wants her under his roof where he can keep an eye on her.
Oh, he's like a firecracker Patrick Swayze.
Yes,
Paul is going to ASU, which is in Tempe, which is 2.5 hours.
Oh, okay.
Long distance. To be able to do his laundry on the weekend.
So now we see later that night, Terri is making music in her bedroom. Her brother records everything.
Okay. It's creepy.
It is. And when he was...
Are they in love?
They're giving me very much Lannisters. I'm not.
Yes.
I'm not gonna... That
It's a beautiful love story.
Yes. It is. It really is. And as he's shooting these things, it's like you can always see him like in the reflection of the mirror and stuff. And I'm like, these are really weird shots he's getting as a blossoming videographer, because Jackie's film school knowledge is like, why would you get your reflection in anything that you're trying to record about like someone else? So, but that comes back later on. It makes sense. And then this is where we see that the brother takes all of these like spontaneous clips of Terri singing and him recording her and stuff, compiles them and sends them out to the conservatory as her demo reel. None of it's good.
No. So also, what that girl doing? She is barely singing in this video. I thought she was going out for a hairbrush commercial.
Great.
Yeah. And can we talk about, I call it the turtle shell move that Hilary Duff does continuously in this movie, where she goes, what the fuck, Hilary? Do you itch? Is your neck trying to, are you a turtle? Like, what is happening?
There's something so cringy about her sexuality. Can I say that? Like,
yeah,
it makes me cringe because she is attractive, like, but yet she's trying not to be. Maybe she's not comfortable with it yet or something. And then the hair, it's this crazy like wig, and like, I don't know. It's like, I think it makes me cringe because it's like, I don't know, I'm cute, you know? And
yeah,
like,
or like, I think
adorable.
that's cute and that's why I do it.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's, well, you know what it is? It's giving, there's a lot of it's giving this episode, but it's giving, I'm not a girl.
Yeah.
Not yet a woman. That's what it's giving.
But Brittany did it way better in Crossroads.
Yes, 100%. It's the innocence. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to make her seem
so innocent.
So innocent and pure.
Yes. It's like, just let her be. Like, she doesn't have, it's not like we're saying go be a hoe bag or anything like that. But this is weird. Yeah. And especially that, like, the way she's dancing, like, for her brother or whatever in the bathroom, like,
that was way more
like, that
sexual
was so
than
flirty.
anything. Yes. I wouldn't be surprised if they were dating during this movie.
I know. I was gonna say that. I was like, the chemistry actually was better than between Sonic
Her
the
and Jay.
Hedgehog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so it was Sonic that pissed on his hair.
Oh,
Yes, it
maybe.
was.
It's a hedgehog hair. Okay.
Tails flew him up there and dropped him.
You know what it kind of feels like is Missy and
Oh,
Jesse from Bring
yes.
It On,
Yes.
where you're like, some of the way times you act in, that feels
Yes.
weird to me.
Did they
Yeah.
date during that movie?
I
Because
don't
I
know.
saw a music video that they were in and they were like holding hands on the sand. And I'm like, what's happening? We'll get back into that when we do Bring It On one day.
The tickets that Terri has purchased are to 3 Days Grace, which is her graduation gift to her brother. He loves them, but it seems like she loves them way more than he does. So is it a gift for you, for me? Like, I don't understand.
Her brother's happiness is seeing his sister happy.
I feel that.
Yeah.
But then he also says, you have the best voice I've ever heard. I'm sorry, what?
So yeah, it's a voice only a brother could love.
Could love.
Brother,
And
a lover.
A friend.
So there's another punk band randomly in a movie for no reason.
Is that what they are? I thought
Are
they
they
were a
lightly
Christian band.
maybe?
Are they a Christian band?
Because when I
I
heard
don't
the
know.
name, like, I know I should know them, but when I heard the name, I was like, that kind of checks, right?
Yeah, it sounded
whole thing.
familiar, but I don't know. I really thought 100% they were a Christian band.
I'm looking them up right now.
If not, I mean, fine. But that one
Like,
scene,
you know those bands like Switchfoot or something that are
yes,
like you
they're
don't have to be
coded,
Christian to go, kind of a
right?
thing.
Yeah,
They're not labeled as Christian. They're post-grunge, hard rock, alternative metal, alternative rock, new metal.
we're gonna get so much hate from Nick if he knows who this band is. He's gonna yell at us.
I know the name is famous, so I'm sure a lot of people are gonna be like, you guys don't know that.
Sorry in advance.
Sorry. They're excellent.
They're great. They're wonderful.
I mean, Nick knows I've been to enough punk rock shows that, like, if they didn't register with me, they didn't register with me. And
That's not
3 Days
important.
Grace did not register with me.
There's a scene when they're at the concert because they sneak out and go to the concert, right?
Because Paul got grounded by Dad for Dad was trying to start the grill and it wouldn't light, so Paul just dumped lighter fluid.
That shit
So then
was
he got
kind of
grounded.
that was scary.
It was scary. And it made me, I want to watch this movie, like whatever this weird subtext
Right.
is.
Whatever this is. I want to watch this family dynamic.
Yes.
Yeah,
Their
like-
house is like beautiful, but like a little bit run down, maybe like in the backyard. It doesn't look like super fancy or anything. And then
Yeah.
like the grill is just like this little rinky-dink grill.
Yeah.
And like the brother rebelling in really oddly like
aggressive ways.
Like,
Yeah.
I want to see more about Paul. I want a movie about Paul.
Yes.
It feels like the dad might have been abusive to Paul, but then like super sweet to the daughter the whole time, and might have been abusive to the mom as well. She looked real raggedy in this movie. Sorry, Rita Wilson, but you did.
Before her son even died, she
Yes.
did
Yeah.
not look good.
She was
definitely
just-
looked abused.
Yeah,
Yes.
she was just very like dowdy and like
Yeah.
long floral dresses. Her hair was very unkempt and not
And,
in
like,
a
timid.
Yes. It looked like her character Chrissy from Now and Then. Just
Yes, but
like
less.
the exact same
Oh.
character, but no joy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and we
Then she
okay,
met
and,
someone from the Footloose town, and it all went
Exactly.
and we do apologize. We're not making light in any way of abusive relationships
No.
at all. It's just you have like if you haven't seen this movie,
It feels that way, and to like not acknowledge that it feels that
Yeah.
way or has those like undertones would be doing a disservice to the characters in the movie, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the most tone that there is aside from like jam session.
right.
Like that is the most feeling that you notice, because the dad is he's acting so hard and he's like
Yeah.
giving so much And so it's just like,
It's
whoa,
off-putting.
like what's happening?
Yeah.
And I feel like even, and I'm not a film buff from this perspective, but I feel like the coloring when they're filming it at home is a little bit like yellow, but brown undertones, like a little bit darker. But when they get to LA, it's a little bit brighter.
Clean.
Yeah, which is weird because it's LA, but
yeah, it was more gritty at home and
Yeah.
then like more polished when they get to LA.
yeah, which is interesting because the director that was originally supposed to be the director for this movie is James Heyman. And like a lot of people were set to be in this original film, and then it got all switched out when they got a new director and everything like that. So just thought, I wonder what it was. I really want to see this other version of the movie.
Yes. So at the concert, did they know the other gentleman that like helped Paul raise her up on her on their shoulders?
So Paul, being the great brother that he is, even though they're damn near front row center,
there's
right?
no one there. There's like maybe 20 people watching this concert.
Right.
And also she's not 6 years old.
Right.
Yes.
So her
She's
brother
16.
decides he's going to put her on his shoulder. So at first, when you see this shot, you think that she's on his shoulder, but then you kind of, I remember tilting my head and I was like, no, I know this fool can't just pick her up on one shoulder, right? But then there's another dude. And so she's just on their shoulders for no reason. And
like
then
one cheek on each shoulder,
Right.
and they're like holding a leg.
right. And then the lead singer decides, okay, baby girl, I'm gonna reach towards you. And they're like reaching towards each other. And I'm like, you're already on top of these men. Why are you moving around,
leaning forward?
Difficult?
It was a power line situation
Yes.
without it being a power line situation. A lot less graceful than the power line situation.
Yes.
Oh, the great.
After they reach for one another, now she's just crowd surfing in the sea of 20 people.
Oh.
And then now they're on their way home. She's still singing the songs. He's looking at her lovingly. And
He
he
should have been
doesn't
driving.
see.
Right. Right.
And he doesn't see semi hit them. Like it wasn't just another car. Those headlights were high and bright.
Yeah.
And the
Did it
next
hit
scene,
his side or her side?
yes, his side.
Okay.
Because she looks over to him, she sees the headlights and she yells his name. And then the next scene is she's waking up in a hospital room.
I don't mean to laugh at this, but the way that Daddy was just unhinged when the poor doctor, so like she has 0 bruises on her face. All that we know is that she's in the hospital and she's got like, the wires in her nose, whatever. And then the doctor's like, I need to test her. And so he asked her a question, like what her birthday is. And Daddy's like, it's tomorrow. Like he's answering for her. And so
Like they're trying to see if she's concussed. Stop answering for her.
He just wants to murder anyone. And now he's pissed that his son got killed. So now
Give me an excuse.
So when the doctor's like, okay, we're gonna let Terri answer the next question. And so he asked Terri a question. Now she's been intubated. I think I said that right. Please don't come at me if I didn't. But anyone who knows, especially if when you've had that tube, like your throat's a little dry. The guy asked her a question. This man doesn't even let her get a chance to think about it before he is like, "What's wrong with my baby?" It's just ridiculous.
And then the doctor says, "I need you to answer out loud." Like he thought that she was just like telepathically
Psychic,
sending like
He
what
knew
month
that
it
she knew.
was. Like she's not stupid. She knows she has to say it out loud. Give her a glass of water.
She became telepathic actually, and she told him my birthday's tomorrow, and then he was like, "You need to say it out loud."
I think they thought they were fucking with Jean Grey. That's what they.
She needs to go to Professor Xavier's for exceptional
She's not
children.
be a mutant now.
how hilarious would it have been if you just see the wheels come in after that scene?
Excuse me, we need to take your daughter now. We're going to a music conservatory.
A very special school.
I think this
for
movie's
talented children.
So much better.
So much better that it's now Christian X-Men.
Oh, please.
Christian X-Men.
Oh, so
like
much
that
better.
has actually already been made.
Probably. The power of Christ compels you. The doctor is examining her and doing like the flashlighty thing in her eyes, which most doctors do to like see if you have a concussion. And obviously she has PTSD. She was just in a horrible car accident. I don't think she knows her brother has died yet.
Yeah.
But the flashlight triggers her. And so she freaks out. And then the dad screams at the doctor and tells him to leave her alone. Like,
yeah, she does know that her brother's dead because
Okay.
her mom is with her when she wakes up. So, and when she asks for where Paul is, her mom just shakes her head no and just starts crying hysterically.
That's right.
It would have been interesting if like the family was kind of more chill before the accident.
Mhm.
It would have explained the dad being very overprotective after the accident.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Like we didn't need a whole nother storyline to explain why dad was so hype about protecting everyone.
Yeah.
It literally makes no sense. Like I'm
No.
sorry to keep obsessing about it, but I'm just like, did he think of that? Did the director like tell him like, can you actually bring a little more violence in writing? Like
Just
what was the thought
silence.
process.
Rage the
And it's so
entire
interesting with
time.
Hillary because
Yes.
she's such a. She doesn't seem like she can ever be in a situation like that. Like she just has this. Like anything would just go off of her, like water off a duck's back kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And so then when he's like raging and she's like, we're all afraid of you, it's like, are they in the same movie?
You
Weird.
don't seem afraid of him because you're yelling at him and he seems like he has been abusive in the past. Now we have flashes of her new life. It's just like them solemnly around the kitchen table where like they pan to Paul's spot, like her even singing in the church choir. There's no joy to it. And so they're kind of just going through the motions. This whole movie, all I could think about was when they're like, you have no joy in singing anymore. You need to do this. You need to do that. You should go to the music thing. Number one, she was in a traumatic event.
Right.
Number two, her brother just died like 2 months prior.
Right.
Like she should be in counseling and not being shipped off to LA to go to this music conservatory. It's going to be there next year for her if she's ready for that.
Right.
Like it,
Right.
like the whole time it was kind of like that thing like in Princess Diaries where she's like, your dad died 3 months ago, get over it. Like don't make her get over it. Plus she has like what seems to be a traumatic home life to begin with. Homegirl needed a lot of therapy and maybe not go to music school right away.
It would
And
have
she's
made
only 16, so she
Right.
has time.
And I think what would have made more sense, because we later find out in the movie that her brother sent the DVD of all the weird videos of them loving on
The
each
Love
other.
Actually DVD.
I think if we had found out that he submitted it, that might have been a better reason for a grief-stricken person to go because he believed in her so much and got her in.
Right.
I thought he did.
But he did, but she doesn't know that. She still goes to the school without knowing that her brother is the reason why she got in.
Because she just submitted the application and like her voice demo. Yeah. So I agree with that. Like that being the catalyst, like at the last moment you find out you got in because your brother submitted your application or whatever. And it's like, oh, he wants me, like a PS I love you thing. Like you need to get on with your life type thing. Would have been so much better.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
And I don't think the movie needed the dad to be like a roadblock. She only had so many roadblocks when she gets to the school. So I think if they, you know, the whole family saw that Paul got her into the school, the dad would have said, I don't want to lose you, but I'm afraid if I don't let you go, I'm going to lose you anyways. So I think you should do this for yourself and for Paul and go. And then they just show up at the end for the performance and that's it.
Yeah.
Like there was no need. She had that bitch at school. She had the philandering Sonic the Hedgehog. She had her black roommate who was like, bitch, you're mediocre. He was right.
100%. Denise was right.
To sleep.
So yeah, mom finds the acceptance letter in the trash and she's like, what is this? Why did you throw it away? And so then they come up with this convoluted plan because dad won't let her go, that she's going to go stay with Aunt Nina for the month of August in Palm Desert. And
how far is Palm Desert from
Flagstaff? Oh, LA. From LA. Oh, okay. I know how far it is from Flagstaff because I Googled that. Yeah. Hold on.
So Jesse, as we're going through this, have we seen any juicy up to this point?
We're actually coming up to my first juicy sighting.
Okay. Which is?
So yeah, as soon as she gets home, well, I guess so it goes through that sort of montage of like their new life. And then when it comes to the scene of when the aunt is telling her about, I think they're coming up with the plan, like they're outside by the picnic table. So it starts out they're in the house with the family and then the two of them go outside. She's wearing a full set, a brown hoodie and it's like a velvety dark brown hoodie and pants, which is really cute. And I love that they let her wear like the full set because I feel like that wouldn't have gone with her character in like a lot of situations, but this was kind of like she's lounging at home and stuff. Yeah. So it was cute because a lot of times, you know, like in Mean Girls and stuff, it's used as like the pink full set and like she's the bitch or whatever. But this was just very cute and like loungy, and she was even supposed to be kind of like depressed. So I kind of like that that use of it.
Jackie, did you find out how far it is?
Yeah, it's about 3 hours.
Okay.
Pretty far.
When we get to that scene, the math ain't mathing with that 100% about her getting on that train to go to LA. And
it does. The math does math.
It's fine.
Flagstaff to Palm Desert is 6 hours.
But we don't know how far of a head start daddy got.
This is true, but you have a 3 hour window.
Yeah. Okay. So
now dad hands her a wad of cash to go to Aunt Nina's.
Oh, God.
Aunt Nina lives. I don't know how much she gets for those sculptures or if she has a sugar daddy on the side, but her house is, oh, that's right. So she must have gotten the house in the divorce because that house is gorgeous. She has this
she's a self-supported artist.
She has a huge shop. Like, I was like, in California, how much you raking in with those sculptures, Aunt Nina?
They're pricey.
Yeah.
She's selling to the Selling Sunset houses out there. She's like, yes. Oh, you need a sculpture?
So
yeah, I love her rich boho vibes.
Yes, yeah. I love it. And she tells Terri the story of why dad is such a hard ass. And he and his best friend both got scholarships to go play football in LA. Apparently their family owned a restaurant, which dad still runs, and Terri is a waitress at. And so he made the choice to stay home and help run the restaurant because their parents were not in great health, while his friend went and took the scholarship in LA and got in with the wrong crowd. And so now everyone has to stay home forever.
Were they in love?
Maybe.
Because when he's like, you can't go to LA. I know what happens to nice girls who go to LA. I think he's talking about his best friend.
Oh.
Who he hoped would come back, but he never did.
Damn.
Maybe.
Got hit by the cocona.
Spent a lot of time at the Viper Room.
That powder hit real hard.
So now mom is crying in Paul's room.
She's, just
grieving. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anyone who's seen or had experienced someone who's passed and you had to like pack up their stuff, you would understand the scene 100%.
Yeah. So she talks Terri into going. And mom gives her a cell phone because they have this even more convoluted situation where they have to conference in Aunt Nina because dad's going to want to talk to her to make sure that Terri is at her house. Like, but they did cover all angles.
I guess it did make sense if you were talking to one of them, then you're like, oh, can I talk to her or whatever?
Yeah.
They were ready.
Yes. But they knew how psychotic he was. So
exactly.
Or led by his trauma. I think that's a better way to.
This wasn't their first rodeo.
No, not at all. Guy. And so Terri, she packs up her stuff. She gets to she takes a train and she ends up at the iconic train station, Union Station, which we've seen in many movies, including Can't Hardly Wait. She leaves her jacket to be stolen. That's how I look at it. Cause why? I thought all the money her dad gave her was in there.
Me too.
But she seemed to be fine. And the taxi driver's like, bitch, get in this car. So he drops her off.
Welcome to LA.
Right. I do love that when they are showing LA, they don't just, she's looking at it like, oh, it's so beautiful. And I keep looking, I'm like, bitch, it's just building in lights. What's happening right now? You're not really from the boonies. Flagstaff is not far from a bigger city. Like, what is she doing? I don't know. It's not like she
sees different sights and then she sees homeless people and then her face is kind of like, oh.
Yes. She sees
like contemplative.
Yes.
But even the homeless people are like having a great time. Like they don't
they don't care.
I was trying to figure out what the director was trying to do there.
Yeah.
She's taking it all in.
Yeah. And then
one thing I have to say, when the dad gave her the money and she left, just before we get to the big city, did it look to anyone else like the dad just fully kissed her on the lips?
I didn't notice
that he didn't. Like it is her cheek, but the way that the angle was, I have no idea why they shot it from that angle. Like I rewinded it 2 times because I was like, what? That was so weird. Yikes. And then Hilary looks at the mom like, sorry, mom.
So creepy.
It was so creepy. I'm just a creepy person. So anyone listening to this is going to find out, like, I watch way too much Lifetime and that's what I'm turning into.
That's what this was. It was a precursor to a Lifetime movie for sure, or like the after effect. But my question is this. So she gets to the school. Obviously, they should have known she was coming, or there was nobody was sitting at the front desk. The door is locked. Did all these kids get there earlier that day? It felt like a lot of these kids had go to that school all day, every day.
That's a great point.
So I'm very confused.
Maybe they were more comfortable because the majority of them had been there the previous summer.
True.
So it was like old hat to them. But still, you're banging on that door, bitch. You got a cell phone. Call someone.
The cell phone's new to her. But what he does is really fucking annoying. So the character of Jay sees her knocking the door, opens the door. I don't even know what he says to her and closes it again. Bitch, you see me with the luggage. We're not far from Skid Row, baby. Like,
it looks like the Cecil Hotel when she comes up there.
Yes. It's a little sketch, 100%. Which
I think it's like, what's the password or something?
Yes. And then finally she was like, bitch, don't play with me. Let me in. And he's like, by the way, it was monkeys.
I'm about to pull a motherfucking knife out of my juicy and stab your ass. Okay? Play with me if you want to.
Does Juicy Couture make pocket knives? They should.
Oh my God, they should.
Like a whole line of women's defense.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Goals.
No one's getting in between me and my Juicy. I built this campaign already.
I love it. It's like nothing comes between and my Calvin.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So the next scene is Terri Kramering into her dorm room.
Oh yeah.
making all of the noise in the
Denise.
world, flipping on the lights. Her poor
Turning
roommate
on
is
the
already
light.
sleeping, right?
I would have
Like-
like if I opened the door and saw it was pitch black, I would have like poked my head in and say, "Hey, I'm really
Right.
sorry. I don't want to bother you. Do you mind if I turn the lights on? I just want to not fall." But she just bust in there. Definitely white girl privilege her ass
Yeah.
right through. And Denise
Yeah.
was like, "Bitch."
She had no awareness in that scene at all. Like, have you never
Live with someone.
have you ever lived? Have you never like
Yeah.
shared with anyone? Like, I know she hasn't been to college or anything yet, but like she just turned the light on and just went on about her business as if someone was not sleeping there. Like that was
After
weird.
like throwing her luggage around and making
Yeah.
all of the noise in the world, like I know you've already woken her up, obviously, with all of your noise, but
But you're not
now,
even trying.
yeah.
And
It
then
was-
she's like, "Hi, I'm Terry." Like, take a shot every time she says that.
yeah. Oh, trying
And
too
then
hard,
she
baby
looks
girl.
surprised that the girl isn't like super jolly to see her. It's like you just woke her up and you're very annoying.
Not a really good first impression, not at all.
Not-
And then she has the
no.
audacity. The next scene, they're going to like their orientation, I guess, with the teachers.
Mhm.
And she goes and sits next to the girl. And I'm sure Denise was like, this. So yeah, she wasn't feeling Terry. She was a little annoyed with her, but also she was very focused and driven as to why she was there,
Absolutely.
because there's a scholarship. And
Yeah.
here comes Uncle Phil. The only part of the movie that was like watchable for me.
I wrote Uncle
great.
Phil.
Yeah. James Avery could not save this movie.
No.
But he was not in this movie enough either.
Wasn't he a great actor of the stage in the past?
Yes. Yes.
I felt it more than seeing him as Uncle Phil, but I was
Yeah.
like, I feel like he's ready to like
He's
bust
projecting
out on that stage.
Yeah.
I think he would have been way better as the main teacher than John Corbett. So James Avery is Mr. Gantry and he's introducing the program. But before he even gets there, these teachers, or we don't know they're teachers, we just see people playing. Now,
Performing.
they're playing instruments, yes.
Oh, yeah.
And I just want to bring up my very wealth of knowledge because I played the viola
Oh,
back in middle school. I was
like, when did you play a viola? But it was pre-Jackie.
It was
Continue.
pre-Jackie,
Aw.
and
PJ.
I was second all county, so I got second chair. That did not mean I was great. The girl who was supposed to be second got sick, so I moved up. But anywho, I know how you hold a bow. And it's not what John Corbett was doing. I don't know what the fuck he was doing. It was bad.
He was
You-
riffing.
He was just like, okay,
Rock
guys
star,
who are,
baby.
everybody who's listening, sorry if you can't see me, but the way that he wasn't holding the bow correctly, one. Two, the way he was on the cello, he was just unhinged. That's not, even if you're
unhinged.
playing quickly, he wasn't even touching the goddamn strings, first and foremost. And then he had the audacity to drop the cello on the floor. Anybody
Like,
who's
throw
ever
it.
played, you don't do that. When you have a string instrument, first of all, you learn how to respect your instrument very early on. That's like the
Mhm.
first thing that you do. And they're very expensive instruments.
Yes.
And some of them are old. Like, you do not do that. That was the most disrespectful thing I've seen in a long time. It broke my heart. I was like, this is ridiculous.
I completely agree. It was like, oh, he's the bad boy of cello.
He's wearing Ross's leather pants.
Oh my God.
And I don't care what his name is. In all of my notes, I just wrote Aiden. He had like this shaggy hair that was always in his eyes, except for the last scene when he
Sweaty.
actually had it in a ponytail. Like, it just, I was like, what is this aesthetic we're going for, Aiden? Because I'm not digging it.
There's something so cringy about him also. And I really don't like whenever he like talks to kids, because I feel like he's always acting like whoever he talks to like wants to have sex with him.
Yes.
So
So
maybe he's just putting off that energy or something. And so then when he's talking to kids, I'm just like, what is this?
there's like exposition later because like Terri gets a solo and Robin, her nemesis, is pissed about it. And
Rightly
she's like,
so.
well, I guess you're the favorite this year. I was his favorite last year. I was like,
He was.
that
There's a lot of
feels
coding.
uncomfortable. Yes. And I'm like,
that did feel uncomfortable.
The whole movie, I was kind of waiting for like, is this teacher gonna turn out to be a pedophile? Yeah, like
she wore
felt that way.
Yes, she wore, the girl, her nemesis, wore a shirt that said "Daddy's Girl" on it.
Girl.
Gross.
That was uncomfortable.
I want to look up this director now because
you got questions.
I got a lot of questions about this movie. So we meet the teachers on the stage doing their thing. They are the experts, and I don't understand the breakdown of this music school either, because the teachers seem to play instruments, but also can sing, supposedly, or they know how to teach you how to sing. Fine. But the way that the kids, their specialties didn't make sense either. So are you telling me all these kids can play instruments, sing, write music, all of this stuff? Like it didn't seem like everyone was on the same path. Like in Fame, when you watch the original and even the newer version, the kids are broken up by different specialties. Like you have the dancers, you have the singers, you have the people who play instruments. So I just thought it was weird, especially the kid who plays Kiwi, who he's doing more electric art.
Almost like DJ,
right.
He's
recording sounds and making music out of it, which is a little bit more outside of the traditional box, but he's in the choir class with them as well. So that didn't make any sense to me.
And I agree. Like there should have been like, here's like the group that are the musicians, here's the group that are the singers. Like it didn't, their talents were so vast. How do you just pick one for a scholarship at the end? Like that felt very cumbersome to me. Can we talk about Chili showing up? Because I called him Chili the whole time, even though his name in this movie is Kiwi, but he played Chili on the OC. So that's how I refer to him. He is the one that wants to be a DJ. He's recording sounds all the time. And does he purposely trip Terri just to get her scream?
I think so.
Okay, that part also was gross.
Yes. And
he gets the scream recorded. She does a little cute little scream.
The Hilary Duff scream.
Hilary. And then he gets the recording, he like plays it back to himself, and then he's like, oh. When he hears it, I'm like,
he too is a little unhinged because he has the crush on Kat Dennings' character and Sloane. And it just, when we get to that part,
okay,
it's weird. It's not giving consent.
This is Kat Dennings' first role. She fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
She does. Like out of all of the acting in this movie, from veterans like Rita Wilson and Rebecca De Mornay, I was so enraptured in Kat Dennings, and she looked gorgeous. Stunning. And I'm just like, I just want to see you more. And I wanted her to be my background, but there are very few
solo images of her. Yeah.
Well, and just very few of Raise Your Voice in general on the internet.
Yeah.
And so I could not find a good one, but I love her. I adore her anyway. But
tell me this is not the precursor to her character a little bit in House Bunny.
Yes, and lots of characters that she does.
Yeah.
That's why I love whenever I see her, because I'm like, oh yeah, it's that girl that like that's just her. Like I think that I'm just seeing her in different movies. Yeah, I wrote her in my notes of like what I remembered from when I watched it. Like I am obsessed with the Phantom of the Opera, and she's very much giving Phantom of the Opera just angry, like on
just anger playing the piano the whole time.
The whole time. And like you said, she does so great, and like she doesn't really even have that many lines, and she doesn't really even get introduced officially like to us for surprisingly kind of a lot of the movie.
Yeah.
But she's so good and she's so stunning. She reminds me of like a young Angelina Jolie when she like looks up and she's like so mad and she's like
And so this is the first time we see her, and hi, my name is Terri approaches her, is like, can I sit here? And like Sloan doesn't say anything to her. She just looks at her. So Terri sits down and Sloan gets up and walks away. Like,
I thought she said, yeah, but then left. That's what I
Well,
thought
maybe.
that was even more hilarious.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Sloan, Terry's not doing well at school with making friends. She's pissed off her roommate. Then there's the bad girl in school Robin, who believes that her and Jay are meant to be because they were a fling last summer. And he's not really saying no either in the beginning. So given off
they were
those
together
vibes,
in the beginning.
Yeah, 100%. And so, yeah, she doesn't have many options for friends, it seems. She does love to go to the roof of the school by herself. And
I thought for sure she was going to get locked out.
Yes.
Like, I was like, oh, here's another situation where she's going to be banging on a door. But
like
no, she just finds this. Exactly. She just finds this secret, awesome spot that no one else has found. It's her secret spot. So in a scene right after the lunch scene, she's walking around LA. She has a shirt on. So she has a Juicy Couture jacket that's zipped halfway up. The only words that show on her shirt,
I'm so glad I'm the only one who wrote this down,
are candy ho.
Candy ho, yes.
I did see that, and I was like, wait, what are they? I did see that.
So then in a later scene, you can see it says Candy Shoes Boys.
Yes.
But all you can see is Candy Ho.
Yeah, I totally noticed that too. I guess Candy Shoes Boys kind of makes sense as a shirt. That seems like a shirt they just made so that they could make it say Candy Ho.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Like if I only zip up my Juicy Couture jacket this much, then I can just say Candy Ho.
Yeah.
I feel like this is very much the time period for printed tees that just said God, random whatever you shit. Want. Yeah.
Which is super juicy as well.
And then she runs into Denise.
She does, kind of let her guard down a little bit. Also, I know a white person wrote this because I can't imagine the direction that they gave this actress, Dana Davis, on how to play this role. I can't imagine what kind of notes she got for this.
And speaking of the director, I looked it up. He got started on The Secret Life of Alex Mack. So he was in Nickelodeon World, Danielle.
Oh my God, that makes total sense.
Yeah. But I wonder if Nickelodeon was bad, like that bad at that point. I mean, I can imagine that this probably I can't imagine that the Dan Schneider time period just happened by itself. Like I'm sure it was a progression, or this was a culture that was just normalized. So that makes sense.
Totally.
Yeah. So Terri catches up with Denise. They have that exchange. And then Denise is like, come with me. Let me show you something. She goes to Union Station and she is essentially a street performer to earn extra money because she really needs the scholarship. Her mom owns, it sounds like a boutique, some sort of store, and really doesn't earn enough money for Denise to be able to go to music school after high school. And so she's really focused on the scholarship money. And so to practice, she goes to Union Station, and as a street performer, she earns some money, and then she gets to practice in a setting with, as she puts it, really good acoustics. And so, and you can see like Denise is far superior in her musicality than anyone we have met thus far.
Yes. Yeah. I have to say this. Besides maybe Kat Dennings' character, this movie is the height of just pure white mediocrity.
Yes.
Not one single person is extremely talented. And I think this is why the movie Fame and even that school that it was based on did so well. It's, you know, in the heart of New York, very diverse, and it is just raw, pure talent. I don't know what the fuck this was. This was summer camp, and we happened to teach.
I kept thinking if we had just put Jessica Simpson in this movie,
Yes,
it would have been amazing.
Yes,
like
that would have been cool.
Yeah, because like she could actually sing and belt out these numbers and show that she has talent that warrants her being there.
I love Hilary Duff, and I always thought when her songs came out back in that time, she had a different tone in her voice that that differentiated her. And I don't feel like she ever tried to go without, like, beyond her range. She knew where she was, and that and she was fun and pop, and it was great. But in this movie, it does not translate at all.
No.
It doesn't make sense.
No, not when you're supposed to be picked out of thousands of applicants from around the country. It does. It didn't make sense. And
right.
I don't blame the crazy, what's that girl's name?
Robin.
Yeah, no, she's totally right. She's the only one saying it. Like, why is this girl taking my solo?
Right.
Like, I feel like how in the Princess Diaries they switched Mandy Moore into the bad girl role, and it worked. Like, if Hilary had been that role in this and just that very cutesy kind of singer, like who was very comfortable at school, she could have really like dug into that.
Right.
But she's supposed to be someone with a Jessica Simpson voice, and she's not. And it's literally like the entire movie, that's what makes the whole thing even more insane, because it's just like, and then maybe also that's why everyone is kind of mediocre, because they were trying not to make it so obvious that she couldn't keep up. What do you guys think?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I think unfortunately she is the weakest link in the movie from a musical standpoint. And then at some point when she does have these solos and she starts to get a little bit good or catch her stride, it seems heavily auto-tuned, or she's very much lip singing and doesn't really even sound like her voice.
Yeah, it sounds like you're listening to a CD all of a sudden. Like they just press play.
They do that quite a bit in the movie with other people too. So, but Denise, I believe that she was playing that violin.
Yeah. And they have so many jam sessions. That's like one of the like memorable things for me, like from back in the day. Like this whole movie is just jam sessions.
And the amount of alternative kids that are at this school, I was like, on one hand, like I appreciate showing like everyone who has a lot of musicality, because a lot of times alternative kids don't get portrayed appropriately in movies like this. But also it was like everyone in the background had like an insane mohawk or like hot pink hair. I'm like, you didn't have to go so over the top with it.
Yeah.
I think again, it's coding for diversity. If you go back and look, and I'm going to bring up Fame again, if you go and look at Fame and how raw, gritty, real, and a great time capsule for that time period. It was, and it was extremely diverse, not just in the skill sets, but you had a group, you had Hispanic, you had Black, you had Latino, everything, Asian, all mixed up in there. And you did not have that. So I think it's kind of like when I joke that when we try to have diversity, they did that here.
Wait, what was it? They do different hair colors, you said?
So I always joke that diversity in white movies is having, especially if you have 3 female leads, one has to have black hair, one has to have blonde hair, one has red hair. That's diversity.
The 3 races.
3 races of white people.
Of women.
And what's even more interesting is the original story was set in New York City and they moved it to LA.
Wow. Yeah, and I think our Mr. Sonic the Hedgehog is supposed to bring the diversity because he has a British accent.
Are we diversifying by being British now?
By being British, yeah.
Yes. There's a minority right there.
British people.
So this is right around the time that Aiden pulls her aside and is like, where's the girl in the video? And she's like, you keep saying that. I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, you submitted a DVD. And she's like, no, I didn't. So he shows it to her and it has this intro, which is a love letter from her brother saying that she's amazing, best voice ever. Please consider her. So she starts crying, runs out. She's packing to leave because her brother did this really sweet thing. And then her necklace breaks. Jay goes to check on her and he takes her to the boardwalk. And so now they're walking around, talking on the boardwalk. So
in this scene, she has a really cute, juicy outfit.
What color is it? That's all I know.
She has a blue, juicy hoodie, and then she has a skirt with it when she's like in the room, and then he finds her, and then they go walking. Yeah, and it's like this really bright color blue. Actually, it's kind of like this.
It's like a baby
bag I'm showing for people.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Kind of that like bright blue color. And she has a skirt with it. And I made a note because it's really similar to this outfit that Lindsay Lohan wears in Mean Girls when she finally becomes a plastic and she has a little plaid, I think, little skirt, and then a juicy hoodie and a little tank under it. It's super similar. And it's very interesting because Hilary never plays a mean girl, but to see like the same things, like that outfit, I'm pretty sure when they show the progression of like Katie Heron, like that's her, like her first time like as a plastic or something. So it's interesting that Hilary's wearing these things, but yet she's supposed to be the good girl. And like the mean girl is almost, she's wearing different things.
The mean girl always looked like she was about to go clubbing.
She did.
She
was so tall. She was so much taller than Hilary.
I wanted to pull her shirt up. There is a full ass scene where her bra is kind of showing, and I'm like, y'all don't see this? Y'all don't see this?
Her bra is showing. Her one boob is like popping out.
Yes.
And then it changes to another angle,
and it's still
the
there.
not showing, and it's like fully up, covering everything.
No, I watched that scene. I was dedicated, and I saw the peak of the because it's
the whole time.
Yes, it's still there.
Oh wow,
it's still peekaboo. You see
it did look like they pulled it up at some
little
point.
bit.
It was like a different height. The poor girl.
And
she and the dad seemed like they were from the same movie.
Yes,
and they were given the same direction, I think.
And then everyone else was in a completely different movie.
Yeah, exactly. The director, like Danielle, you were like, what direction was she given, or was the roommate given? I think like those three were given the same direction. Just be angry.
Yes.
Right. I need you to go into your angry Black woman vibe. Okay.
All three of you.
Yes.
So now we're on the boardwalk. Jay is talking to Terri, and she's like, why do you care so much? And he's like, because I like you. And so then she asks about Robin, and he's like, that was last year. I'm so not into her this year.
I'm into my new juicy line. I'm so not vintage right now. Thanks.
Can't you tell by my new highlights that I'm into juicy girls?
And it's funny because we have this scene, and then boom, next scene, we together. We're coupled up, we're booed up. Everybody needs to know. And not only are we coupled up, we are like a threesome because my best friend is your friend too now.
Yes. As if this were like, well, this is PG-13, I guess, but if this were a little bit more PG-13, like we would have known that they had like slept together or whatever. Like it went from them just being like, okay, I like you. And then the next thing, like they were so physically comfortable together. It was obvious that they'd like spend a ton of time together.
Yes. But then
like how much time has passed?
At the same time, when he tries to kiss her, this is when it's like, make up your mind. Is this a Christian movie again?
Oh,
because he tries to kiss.
Yeah, right?
Later on, he tries to kiss her, and she's like,
so they haven't even kissed.
Oh, that's
the entire movie.
Weird. That's so bizarre.
But yeah, we're going through a montage where he's trying to write his recital. She's trying to write hers. They decide to do it together because she can write lyrics and he can write music.
Help her. Of course,
Then-
they've been making out that whole time.
Yeah, right?
Right.
It's
And
camp.
then they're all sitting at lunch. They see Kat Dennings. Chili from the OC is like still pining after her.
Yeah.
So Terri goes over and like introduces herself. And so she finally finds out her name is Sloan. And they decide to go on a couple's date together. So they're supposed to go on a double date in the evening, I guess. But the day of, mom comes home to a note from dad that says, I went to check on Terri. The drive is 6 hours. It's not
watching
like,
the restaurant.
hey, right? Who's watching the restaurant? Like, your wife has just lost her son and her daughter's away,
Right.
and you're just gonna like
I'm
leave her a
leaving.
note? Like, what the shit is that? And it's not like, hey, I'm running 15 minutes up the road to check on Terri. I'll be right back. It's 6 hours there. And so,
No, he doesn't have a cell phone.
it's a
Also,
Nina.
I'm sorry, but it's 6 hours away. He gets there. It's like midday, right?
Yeah,
Would he have slept over? Does he get right back in the car and drive
right.
back?
Because I'm like, so it's, we have established it's 3 hours from LA to Aunt Nina's house. So Aunt Nina frantically calls Terri and is like, you have to get here now. Your dad's on the way. Terri jumps on a train, gets to Aunt Nina's house. Does she walk from the train station? Because no one picks
Yes.
her up.
Yes.
How small is this town where you can walk to
Posted.
Aunt Nina's estate? And she gets there right in time. Dad's just arrived. Aunt Nina doesn't know what to do. And then here comes Terri like, hey, Dad. But then like, does Dad just like, okay, I see you. Have a good day, and leaves? Because
Okay.
Terry's back in LA for her date that afternoon. The timeline does not make sense.
Yeah.
I said the math wasn't mathing.
Well, I mean, like for her to get to Aunt Nina's house after finding out Dad's on his way, that kind of could make sense. But the rest of it makes no goddamn sense.
I thought when she asked her boy, because she saw him with this really cool car,
Yes.
I thought he was driving her.
Yeah, I thought he
Yeah.
was just going to drive her to Aunt Nina's house.
So where did he drive her? The bus station or the
Yeah.
train station?
Yeah.
Which
Oh.
it seems like in the past, they've just walked there.
I
I
I
don't-
just wanted to throw up like more roadblocks with this like dad thing.
Yes.
Like when I watched the trailer today too, and like I think that's one of the things that they mentioned. Like they're like, can Terri do this while keeping her father happy too, or whatever? Like almost as if like that's such a huger part of the movie than like anyone thinks. And maybe also that's why he's like acting so hard, because he's like, no, this is the main reason why Terri, you know, this is her turmoil in the entire film is me, the father.
Me, the
It's so
Father, the
confusing.
Son, and the Holy Ghost.
Yeah, exactly. The Holy Grail.
So now
It just clicked. It just clicked.
so good. So now they are on their double date. I don't know what Sloan showed up for. And I wish I had a
Her name
picture
is
of it.
Sloan.
Sloan. Yeah.
It
So
looks
cool.
like goth meets Victorian times.
I know, she's so emo. I love her.
And then the special date, like we're leaving where we're going up to Terri, who only knows two places in this fucking city, which is the
Train station and the
and
boardwalk.
rooftop. Oh, okay.
So she got three because she got the
three,
rooftop.
three.
So they end up at the train station where Denise is trying to perform and hijack and make some money. Danielle, the amount of eyebrow wiggles when you just did that was
Well, no,
highly distracting.
She doesn't go. It's not the train station. It looks like it almost looked like Lincoln Center a little bit. It's some
like
place
outside a performing arts
Place,
building.
yeah.
And so she's doing her thing. She's getting tips and stuff. Like she's rocking out. And then
Here comes
Terri
with
has
her pitchy
the
ass voice.
caucasity to fucking give her new sheet music. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a bop. No. It's the way you do the things you do, and it's sung very poorly.
Zero fucking soul. No soul.
No soul.
Why they couldn't have picked the white song? A Beach Boys song. Something.
Right.
A Beatles song. But you gotta go deep dive into the
I told you,
Motown.
Danielle, it's the caucasity for me.
Right.
And this is how it said, you guys smile so bright.
It's so bad.
You could have been an angel.
It's like her singing comes from her teeth.
Yes.
Like
And
we
is
can't
it-
actually hear your teeth. We can see them on film.
Yes.
Mary, come over here. Like this.
It's so bad.
It's bad.
So bad.
And the actress who plays Denise, Dana Davis, was doing the most acting she could to pretend that she was
So
feeling. And
I
then,
can't believe there wasn't an eye roll.
and then she calls Red Hot Chili Peppers up there too. And-
Yes.
Like,
It's not good.
that's
It's
actually
not good.
the perfect name for them.
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
It is because he's
Yeah.
got the red
It's chili.
and he's chili.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Do
bad.
you think they had to split the money, or do you think they ended up giving her all the money?
Yo, I can say one thing about my girl Denise. They didn't have a chance
No.
to touch that money.
No. She had a mission. She
she's
was
like, no
laser
way.
focused.
I do want to say that at least they gave her a backstory. So much
Yes.
of the Black best friend trope, there is zero backstory.
True.
So she's not as much of a vehicle to just support Terri, but she is at the same time. They did
Yeah.
a little bit better.
No, I think the Black best friend was at the beginning where she had like one line, the brother kind of hit on her, and then
Right.
that was it.
Oh, she did. Yeah, back home.
So that was definitely a prop for
So Terri has a
Terri.
type.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Terri has a type. Okay.
Terri.
So and then the date ends with Terri and she's up on the roof with Jay. Someone's practicing like a tuba or something. It is not music to dance to at all, but they're dancing. And this is where like she looks up. And so he goes in for the kiss and
She does the turtle.
but then they talk for 2 minutes more and she's like, okay, I'm ready now.
Yeah.
What? Jay is way more understanding than any other teenager I know.
I did like that part because I wrote Dancing with Sonic the Hedgehog. I liked that when she said, I'm not ready, which was like, wait, why are you not ready? Was it because your brother died or something?
Yeah, like what?
My husband only died 3 months ago. But I did like that they just kept dancing. It wasn't like, I'm not ready. And then it was like, okay, well, you killed the moment. And now
Yeah,
that means like I kind of don't like you as much, like what people would fear would happen, you know?
And-
Like I
and-
like that he was like, okay. And then they just kept dancing. But then it made me like it less when they ended up kissing because I was like, oh, okay, well, they're just gonna kiss anyway.
Right.
yeah. Like I did really appreciate that the character of Jay was very respectful
Yeah.
to her feelings the whole time and looking for that
Except when he was
consent.
making out with his ex-girlfriend.
It's
'cause-
that trope, and I just hate it. And that whole part was super cringy.
Wait,
And I
what
didn't
happened?
like it. Where Robin kisses him and then Terri sees and then she's mad at him for like a day and a half
Oh,
until he gets drunk. Where did he get alcohol from?
right.
he's British.
And then why does he go?
He brought it with him.
So why does she take him to the roof when he's drunk? Because
Yeah,
he can't.
because I think he would get kicked out if any of like the non-existent adults at
Oh.
this music school found him, and so she's kind of hiding him. Denise is a ride or die though, because even though she thinks it's super stupid,
She does.
he helps her homegirl out.
She
Aw.
does. Yeah. And I thought it was going to be like a full-on hangover scene where he woke up like wake and bake situation. You thought that too?
No, I just thought, why are you taking a drunk person to the roof where they can fucking fall off?
Well, you just read about that traumatic roof
Exactly.
situation.
I'm like, oh my gosh, it's chilly all over again. But prior to the whole Robin kerfuffle, they go to open mic night to practice. But Terry still got the PTSD, so she looks into the spotlight and the flashback of the truck hitting them, and she freaks out. And then Jay goes out. He's very understanding. Again, he's like super understanding, even though. And so I think this is when she finally tells him the whole story, and he hands her the necklace, and he's fixed it for her.
At first, when they're on stage, he gave me very much. Bitch, turn around, because when she was singing, she kept looking at him and not looking at the audience, and the people in the audience were my heroes of this movie because they're like, girl, turn around.
That's Danielle. That's Danielle sitting in the audience. Bitch, why are you facing the wrong way?
And then it made me, all I kept thinking was the Christina Aguilera beautiful
Burlesque.
You Are Beautiful song or whatever.
Don't look at me.
Don't look at me. That part.
Yes, you definitely don't look at me.
That's all I kept hearing in my head when she wouldn't turn around. Oh, baby girl, you can't sing and you got stage fright.
This isn't
making
right.
sense.
Because it's like they want it to be, and it's the same in the Lizzie McGuire movie. It's supposed to be, well, she never tried to sing in front of everyone. She's not one of those annoying people who makes you listen to her singing. But then when she's just accidentally singing, it just is so beautiful. And then everyone finds out and she's an angel. It's like, she never has that confidence of being just the person that sings,
right?
Which would be okay, like if the voice were different. But it's just a weird dichotomy.
Does she have a "Sing to Me, Paulo" moment in this movie?
Exactly.
I feel I remember her saying, because I'm always thinking about social media content, and I think in this movie she does say "sing to me," or she does something like that, and I was like, we're just reusing words here. Okay.
I just always, for me, because I think I watched the Lizzie McGuire movie once and that was it. But it was giving me Violet vibes from Coyote Ugly, where she's like, I can't sing in front of people.
Yes. I thought the same thing.
Yes. And see, then in Coyote Ugly, you get to finally see her get on the bar and go crazy.
Yeah.
And all this, and so we're getting the first part of that character for this whole movie.
And where was the Violet energy at the end? Like, that's like what we needed.
Time to break out. Let's see it. Yeah.
So the next scene, Robin throws a fit in class. Terri doesn't show up, and the teacher's like, no, I'm not giving her solo to anyone else. Robin throws a fit because she's like, I know what, I can sing it. And storms out crying. Jay sees her crying, and this is when she like pulls him into a practice room, and the thing she says, I'm used to always getting my way. And then she also says that she's a little bad. And so Terri is looking for Jay.
I want to be bad.
Total Willa Ford like vibes. Such Willa Ford vibes when she was talking about that. I'm like, why didn't they just cast Willa Ford in this role? It would have been 100 times better.
That. Yeah.
So Terri obviously walks in while they're kissing. That's why we get into this day and a half fight. She does push him like really hard when he's running after her and trying to catch up to him. I was like, ooh, good for you,
got some anger there.
Yeah, and she was like, stay away from me. I'm like, well, that's that daddy coming out of me.
Fire crunch.
We'll set this barbecue on fire.
And then she goes upstairs and like tears her journal up and stuff. I'm like, girl, you're having a knee-jerk reaction. You need to not be destroying your shit you're going to need later.
Right.
Yeah.
But now there's like this whole montage of Jay trying to talk to her. She's walking along the boardwalk, very morose. She's in church praying. They're both practicing alone. She finally is sitting on the steps of the school, and Aiden comes and talks to her. And
She tells him about her brother then.
she tells him about her brother. He says, artists feel things different than regular people. And I wrote in all caps, her brother died 2 months ago. This isn't like because you're an artist, you're feeling more sad. This is your fucking brother that you were very close to and in the car with the night that it happened. You have survivor's guilt. You have guilt because you were the one who encouraged him to sneak out. Like you have.
You guys have been in love for
Exactly.
It's a lot.
So then we get the whole scene with Jay drunk banging on the door. They take him up to the roof. He sleeps it off. She apparently just stays up there all night watching for the sunrise, as you do.
And she forgives him and said, she's like, we're going to do this. Let's make this song. And she's like, you're not completely out of the doghouse or whatever. And he's like, okay. And so she wrote some new lyrics, it's a hot track.
It's a hot track.
Right.
And at this time, Dad is looking for the car keys, looks in Mom's purse and finds like the parents' night invitation. He's like, what the fuck is this? And so he like immediately in the car, like, we're going to get her. This is bullshit, y'all. Which like, I can't fault the dad for being mad that they lied to him.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like I can't.
And she was like, supposed to tell him eventually. That was what she told Terri.
Yes.
Terri was
like after a couple of weeks, I'll tell him where you are.
Right.
So he knows.
Because Terri
so,
was very concerned
like
about
Terri
lying.
Thatcher or something.
Who?
And Mom and Dad have this moment where she's like, I lost one child. I was losing another one. She had no joy. She's finally singing again. I had to let her do this. And Dad's like, how can I protect her if she's not here?
It was given anime. Eat the cake, anime.
Yes. So now we have a scene where Sloane is practicing in one room. Kiwi is practicing in a janitor's closet or something. And he's drumming so loud that Sloane has to go and tell him to shut the fuck up. But then he like
attacks her face.
Yeah, he kisses her very aggressively, but then he stands back. So I'm like, okay, like he shoot a shot, but then he was like, is this okay? So I'm like, okay.
That was not consent. It was so fucking weird. I felt uncomfortable with that.
But then she was like, go ahead.
Before they kiss, just the look on his face is so weird. Like,
yes,
feral.
When she walks into the room, like, I don't like it.
Like his whole goal was, I'm gonna make enough noise to piss her off so that she comes and talks to me.
Yeah. Yes. And then he's like titillated.
Yes.
Which I don't understand because they went on the full date, right? So they should be cooler than this by now. Like, what is this?
Like they didn't know each other.
Right.
But then like Sloane's into it and reciprocates, and then they're just knocking all over all the extra instruments and bandstands and all that stuff.
So bad. And then fast forward, we get to the big show.
The big show.
And so we're seeing all of the kids perform. Robin, again, lackluster. Even though she does sing better than Terri, her performance is just bleh. Black.
And what is that dress?
What jazz? Just some nice lounge jazz for her like performance of a lifetime. She's like, I really just want people to feel comfortable and like they might fall asleep soon.
Yes, the elevator entertainment is what I'm going for.
Yeah,
yes,
it's lovely.
And then also, while this is happening, Terri realizes she doesn't have her Paul cross, and so she has to go to her dorm room, which must be like 5 blocks away, and to retrieve it. And so everyone's performing. Robin's Kat Dennings, high five,
Kills
knocked it out of the ballpark.
And
Kiwi, what the fuck was that?
Don't know.
Not sure. He did, I believe he had a theremin, which tickled me so, only because, and I only know what that instrument is because it's used.
Don't say Hanson.
No.
Okay.
It was used to create the theme music for Star Trek.
Oh, okay. That's
so
it.
I've heard of that randomly before too.
Yeah, it's just a bar, but like where you put your hand over it emits different wave frequencies, so you can play it as an instrument.
It's so something that kid would have had.
Yes.
Right. Yes.
That's the most accurate thing in this film.
When he goes on the stage, they say his real name, which is
Engelbert.
Right. And people were like, what? And
that's the whole point of it.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think that it's almost like he's a very rich kid that gets sent to DJ camp.
Yes.
That's what his whole set was like.
I believe so.
And Terri runs into her dad, aka Red Hulk, at this point because he is packing up her shit and he is mad that she lied to him. And Terri finally gets a fire under her ass to yell back at her papa. And they go at it. And she finally is just like, look, I'm staying. And I would like for you to see me perform, you and mom. And I guess the dad agrees. She gets back to the stage because Troy, I'm joking. I know it's not Troy. Jay. Goes up to Uncle Phil and says, we got a problem. My partner's not here.
He's like, okay, next up is Terri and Sonic. And then he waits 5 seconds. And then he's like, okay, well, I guess unfortunately we're going to have to. And he's like, starts to move on. And
the show must go on.
But she runs onto stage and then she gives the best joyful noise, Christian ending movie.
And when she
didn't want to see that lackluster ass performance.
No.
He's like, not Terri.
When she gets onto the stage, she sees the spotlight and for a moment she chokes, but then she envisions the stagehand as Paul's face.
Is that my lover in the distance?
And she's able to give the performance of a lifetime ?
It reminds me, all I keep hearing when she does this song is, I dare you to run.
Oh my God.
It reminds me of every high school talent show performance I had to sit through. That's the caliber we're at.
And everyone's crying.
Oh, Dad sheds a tear, one lone tear for Dad.
It's just very interesting because it's like, Danielle, you said it's like she's doing like pop star trying to be in a movie.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's TV star trying to be a pop star.
Yeah.
Yes.
In that way, like when she's doing the performance, because if a pop star were trying to be in a movie, that would be like her strong suit.
Right.
But it's like when she gets her chance, she's not comfortable with singing. She's not comfortable with dancing. Like she physically seems very uncomfortable, like on stage and stuff. And so it's just like, it feels like you're watching like a play about someone who can sing or something. And also because the track is so audibly different from what the movie was. So it really has that jarring thing of like, and now like there's a lip sync thing. It's very weird.
And after the performance, she mouths thank you to Aiden, which was also weird. Like he gave you really no direction. He gave you a solo when he shouldn't have. That's all he did for you.
Right. And why did he give that?
Right. Because
grooming.
Sense. Yes.
He
because by next summer
saying that he is giving grooming.
Yeah.
Like that's what disturbed me so much, even from the first moment that he did his little solo in the concert thing. In real life, like now at the age that I am, I can look at that and see like just going to that one introductory thing for the students, I would be like, that dude is a creep. I don't like that. Like I don't like that he's trying to be a star to all these kids, like when he's older, and then
And
all
he's
the other
like the cool teacher,
cool one, and everyone else is like old and stuffy, and he's very like rock and roll. Like just from seeing that, I'm like, no, I don't want my kid being around him.
Yeah, not great. And what
So-
I don't get is him and the other teacher pounded out like they did some awesome job. You saw that?
Yeah. The angry Russian teacher.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like we did this, boy.
We did this. And then so they perform the mediocrity of a lifetime.
Right.
And then they run off stage and kiss because yay. And Uncle Phil has the audacity to say, this year's talent is better than most. Say what? Uncle Phil? I'm sorry. Did your eyeballs and earballs like experience the same thing I did? Because no, ma'am.
He was getting that check. You want me to read these words? No problem.
And then I wrote, Denise wins. Thank God. Because I was like, if they pull some sort of these kids, her song was so heartfelt because it was a love letter to her brother and they need to win. Like I was ready to throw shit at the TV.
I was more invested about who was going to win this shit. I saw the movie, but I couldn't remember who won. I was more invested in who was going to win in this than I was in the original time I saw Bring It On. I was like, I was ready to throw hands.
Yep.
What we going to do? Who winning this? Who winning this? It better be Denise. You better say Denise. Is it Denise? Is that Denise? Should I fast forward so you can say Denise? Oh, it's Denise. Okay, I'm cool.
Okay.
That was the progression.
I kind of like that we know that Hilary is not going to win. Like from the time Denise is like, I need to win this, we're like, okay, you are winning this.
Right.
And it's not about hoping that Hilary might win it. Like that's kind of like
I'm not hitching my wagon to that hot mess express.
to that wig.
No.
And I like that Denise won on her own. Like it wasn't white savior comes in and helps her to win. It was like she won because she was the best. She worked her ass off and she deserved to win.
Yes.
Like the Clovers.
Right. 100%.
And then there was a very lovely garden tea party on the lawn for the parents. Like, what was that? So while the garden party's going on, Dad gives her a compliment for the first time in her life and tells her she was great, and then pulls her aside privately to tell her that he was wrong and he's very hard-headed. You think, sir? You think? Go back to Footloose. And it was probably the proudest moment of his life. And he wished Paul could have seen it, which the only sentiment I believe is I wish Paul could have seen it.
Yeah. Paul did see it. He was in the rafters. Did you miss it?
Right.
She saw him. Did you not see Paul? Man in the spotlight.
And Jesus. And then after that, all the kids decide we're gonna jam session this bitch out. And
I think that's the fourth jam session.
At least.
Possibly fifth.
I want a whole movie about Sloane.
I know.
Yes.
Me too.
And it's called Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist.
I love Nick and Nora so much. I may watch that tonight to get this movie out of my brain.
Yeah.
I need a Kat Denning palette cleanser.
Yeah.
After
like,
this
I
movie.
hate how they made her make out with him because I felt like she was such a like just a great like goth emo character in general, but also like a great like potentially queer character, and she's just like over there angry like practicing, and I'm like, oh, they have to make it okay that she's like goth because she makes out with this boy, so like now it's fine. And then also like it felt like they kind of shoehorned in that like makeout scene to make the movie like a little bit hotter, because it's like, well, Hilary's not going to do that scene, so we're going to show that other kids like make out, but like if you're a real Christian main character, you just like peck on the lips, but you don't have this fun of a scene. But it's like they threw it to like spice up Hilary without her actually having to like do it.
And that is Raise Your Voice. We did it, y'all.
More like raise my motherfucking patience. I am so proud of myself.
Wow.
Also, there's one bit of trivia that I did miss, which was that when it was supposed to be a Christian music project, that they were thinking of Kirk Franklin as the music teacher.
I don't even know who that is.
We'll say what?
I thought you were gonna say Kirk Cameron because he's the one that's always in the Christian things.
You don't know who Kirk Franklin is?
I don't. I'm sorry. I'm Googling him now. He was okay.
Shannon gonna get you.
I'm really sorry, Shannon. Damn it. I hate it when Shannon has hard opinions about.
But I feel like it would have been good to have him.
Oh, he's
but
a choir master.
I think he would have said hell no to this. The musicality would have maybe been better.
Yeah.
But then I would be like, oh, you lying, Kirk Franklin.
Right.
You know this girl
He's like,
can't
Hilary,
sing.
you're really the best.
Yeah, no. So I guess it's better that we had creepy John Corbin instead. And then the other last thing is the soundtrack for this movie was planned to actually be released before the film, but it was never released because Hilary Duff released her second album with the songs featured on the film.
Oh,
Smart choice.
I have one more juicy sighting that I missed.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yes.
Inserting in there. Sorry. So I think there's 4 juicy outfits total, but I might have missed one. When she goes to finally see Kat Dennings the first time that they really meet.
Yeah.
She's wearing a peach terry cloth hoodie. That's really cute. And it's different because it's not like your classic velour hoodie. And it has like weird little ties, like maybe at the bottom and like on the wrists and stuff. And that's with, I forget what bottom that was with.
But that was when she was
cute,
wearing
like
this
beach one.
Was she wearing the striped shirt? That striped shirt with that, or is that separate? You know, that the one that she's wearing on the cover, which is like a peach and pink striped.
Oh yeah, that might be it actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and on the cover.
Oh, cool. I'm gonna take pictures of all of them and post them and stuff. So I think that was the last one.
Awesome.
Oh, and one other thing. I looked up who the costume designer was. Her name is Aggie Gerard Rogers.
Mm-hmm.
And she has done so many movies, you guys. Like it was actually shocking when I looked at her IMDb. Like she's just done literally everything. She was nominated for The Color Purple for an Oscar.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
But she, I guess, didn't win, but she was nominated.
Is she Black?
No.
Okay, well, I'm less excited. No, let me stop.
She seems white. She's been working for like since the 70s, so she's definitely older at this point, but she's still working.
Yeah,
she did Rent, Holes, Mr. Holland's Opus.
Now that is a good music teacher movie.
That is
so much better.
John Corbett needs to study.
He needed to sit down and watch that movie. Even the one with Meryl Streep and Gloria Estefan where NSYNC sings
Music of My Heart.
Music of My Heart. Yes.
Even that one's better.
Yes.
I could go on.
She did Beetlejuice, Star Wars, The Return of the Jedi. Very interesting.
Oh, that's so cool.
And no other movies that were like this, like a 2005 like timepiece where you would use Juicy. Like I think she might not have ever even used it again. It's very interesting.
You should definitely do a TikTok on her.
Yeah, you're right.
I just happened to scroll through the critic reviews and Marjorie Baumgarten from the Austin Chronicle said, "This ain't fame. It will not live forever."
Oh my God. I love it all. Thanks, Marjorie Baumgarten.
I think that should just be the
tagline.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, that's amazing. That is amazing. Okay, Jessie, so why don't you give everybody your social handles so they can follow you?
Yeah, so on Instagram, it's at Vintage Juicy Couture and at This Old Thing, and it's OLDE. And on TikTok, it's the same. On YouTube, it's at This Old Thing, and on the internet, it is thisoldthing.com.
Nice. And as always, you guys can catch us at No More Lease at No More Late Fees on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. And you can tell us what your present day ratings of Raise Your Voice, if you decided to really bite the bullet and watch it after being inspired after this wonderful episode. Jesse, I'm going to start with you. Now that you've rewatched it in present day, what would you give this movie?
Yeah, I would say same day.
She's like, what's lower than same day?
Like, watch it while I'm standing in line at Blockbuster waiting to get my other stuff.
Leave it on the shelf.
Yeah, that should be another rating. Jackie, what about? Oh,
I agree. It is a same day rental for me.
You know, guys, after rewatching it, I think I feel like it should be higher than when I gave it originally.
Really?
No, I'm fucking lying. This movie's trash.
Okay. Wait, what just happened?
I want to take this movie and get back to the Holy Grail and light it up and throw some more like
lighter fluid on
it. Yes.
But I do want to watch that.
Yes. And I want
get back to the Patrick Swayze doppelganger.
Yes.
Find out what's going on with it. That maybe he was angry because his children were in love.
Maybe.
He's like, is no one else saying this?
And I would like a movie about Sloane's life.
Yeah. Or just me just going off into the sunset and marrying her.
So if you have hard opinions about this movie or want to give feedback, suggest future movies, what you like, dislike, corrections, Blockbuster video stories, or your favorite moments, hit us up at our quick drop. It's our voicemail, 909-601-NMLF, 909-601-6653. You can also twat us at the Twitter or leave us a voice message at our Anchor FM, and you can be featured on a future episode. And thank you so much for coming on, Jesse. We really enjoyed your juicy couture insight and giving us some new catchphrases like
100%.
Holy Grail.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This was seriously so fun.
We're so glad that you enjoyed yourself. And join us next week as we go on an all-American treasure hunt with National Treasure. Jackie is literally pissing her pants with joy right now.
I'm so excited.
She just raised the roof, people.
I mean, I love an escape room, a scavenger hunt. Give it all to me. I love it.
You guys are going to steal the Declaration of Independence?
Yes.
My black ass would have gotten arrested immediately, so no.
They should make an escape room that's based on National Treasure.
100%.
Oh, that's actually a great idea.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, while I figure out how to market that, be kind and rewind.